So we're moving into part two of my build of this LaBelle O-scale baggage car. I've reread the instructions. I feel a little better about them. I'm not so excited about them, but I feel better about them. And so before I get started on the actual what I did for part two, I went to my local Michael's store to see if they still had that adhesive glue sheet that I talked about at the end of last time, and they do, and it runs $6.75 for 2 sheets. That's what it looks like. Just find it in the scrapbook section of the store, and if you're looking at a coupon, you take 40% off. And I haven't used it in this project, but on other projects it works out great. It saves a lot of grief putting down siding material and other things. You don't have to worry about the glue and stuff because everything else perfectly flat. It's great stuff. Okay, so now we're going to work on the ends this time. These are the parts that we'll be using. This is your basic end piece. This is the letter board. This is the quarter rounds that go on each side of the door. These are your siding pieces, and this is the edge piece that goes between this and the outside quarter round. This is the buffer for the bottom of the doors, bottom of the end, and this is part of the roof, which we'll get to later. All these parts have been assembled, as I had them spread out before I put them all together again. This has all been glued with Type Bomb glue. Now, the discoloration you see there is because I added these grab irons. I'm going to show more about that in a minute. I took some nut bolt washer castings out of my collection. They're #1 castings from Grant Line, which is now San Juan. And this is 015 020 wire. And then after I put them all in there, I glued them from behind. I went ahead and blackened them so that if after this car's painted, if the paint chips off, they'll at least be blackened. So that's the result of the blackening agent against the wood there. It didn't hurt the wood any, it just discolored it. So by now you guys must know I love jigs. And so this is the jig I made for putting the grab irons on the car. What I did was, like to do the baggage doors, I put this against the side of the baggage door area. I put this against the bottom of the baggage door area. And these lined up perfectly with the quarter round. And I pre-drilled these. For the ends steps, I matched this against the edge piece there, against the bottom, and I drilled these out. And this way, all the way through this project, the car will all be the same. For the end ones, I drilled this hole here and this hole here. That was a mistake. So all this is a little piece of plastic that I cut, laid this whole thing out in this little piece of plastic. And I know now that when I laid these all out here, they're going to be the same. It's much easier. I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes to make this little jig. And it makes this whole project easier. And then I just toss it in my collection of jigs for when another project I might need to use it on. So here's the side completed. I mentioned I was going to put the metal sheeting between the doors, like I was in the one picture from part 1. I found I had some paper roofing material that was glue sheet on the one side. So I went ahead and stuck that down there. Here is the end grabs that I used that jig to put on. And there's the other side here the same. So this makes the side basically complete. I have the grab irons by the door. I have the grab irons by the ends. I have the metal sheeting put up there. I may add some kind of nailing detail or rivet detail or something like this. I don't know for sure if I'm going to or not, but I may do that. So now I got the 4 sides are all made. The ends are made. I went ahead and spread them with Tamiya gray primer. I like Tamiya paints among the paint choices I have, although I have many paint choices. So it came time to put the floor in. I had already done the other 3 sides, so this is the 4th side I'm doing here. You notice I used a bunch of alligator clips for you old hippies, roach clips. And I used a little piece of wood so I didn't damage the edge when I'm clipping it on here. And for the ends, I have these bar clamps, and I clamped on each end. Of course, I put one direction, one the other direction, so the car had been flipped to one side doing that. Once that was all dry, I took that all off. But now that means that it's all glued to the bottom, but the sides are not glued to the top and the ends. So I turned the car over and I added glue in the four corners here and clamped this down, and then did the same thing the other side here. Now, when you're doing this clamping on this part here, there's a little lip on the edge here that a piece of that 1x6 or I think it's 1x6. It has a green color on it that the kit has. And if you're not careful and you clamp on that, you're going to crush a piece of it. I know, because I did, which I have to be able to be repaired. So this is where our car is at this point in the project. All this is pretty simple. Be careful with one thing here. There's a lip cut into each side of the ends. The ends go in there first. So when I put this together, I put the ends in first, made sure they were square with a triangle I have. Same thing on the other end here. Let that totally dry. Then I added the sides, gluing them on the bottom only, and let that totally dry. And then I did the sides to the end connections on all four corners and clamped them. So this is where we're at. You'll see that right here, I have done the addition to the roof part that goes on the side of the car. I haven't done the other side yet, and we'll discuss the shaping of these pieces next time, and possibly get into the cutting the roof and cutting the roof ends so that they have the curves, which is going to be a little tricky, but it's really not that difficult. So that's where we're at. That's pretty much what I've got for tonight.